Welcome back to Barrel Brothers Spacia tinkering, toaster tinkering, and today we're on the front suspension. Now there's an easy side and a hard side, and I'll show you why. Alright, that's the easy side. This, on the other hand, is the hard side, which is, it's under there, and that's the ECU. So that needs to be moved before we can ever go at it. Is our power con doing well? Another fine Blitz product. No, I'm not sponsored by Blitz, I just like good products. And I do the research to find out. Mind you, Blitz are the guys that basically do stuff for Spacias. Monster Sport do a little bit of stuff too, but yeah, Blitz are the guys. If you got one of these, Blitz are the guys. They got all the gear. All right, so let's start pulling them out. There we go. For the ABS sensor, I've got a couple of these little gizmos that are kind of, you need to get onto the other side, but I can't get to the other side on this one because it's hanging on the ABS sensor line. That one's off. See, it's got a couple of little clips on the back of it. Well, this one has two, but it's on the inside of there. And the other side came off real easy. This one's almost impossible to get to. Oh, so close. Two. Done. ABS sensor, that's the brake line, and finally we need the sway bar link up the top here. Oh, Jesus, how tight's that? Shouldn't really hit ratchet spanners, but you have got to be kidding me. Socket and rattle gun. Boom, straight off. Key set, put it around here somewhere. Lubricant. Crows are back. CRC 556. I'm not sponsored by any of these guys, okay? I just like a good product. I'm sponsored by Barrel Brothers. Not just pretty rusty and crappy, considering it's only, what, 4 or 5 years old. And it's only this bit that's been crappy so far, so... Oh, man. I didn't want this coming undone. It did not want to come off. I'm being checked out at the moment. Somebody's curious has come to see what's going on down here. Some of that stuff's going to have to go on here. Right, we're just doing everything loosely at the moment. We'll sort of get everything sitting in place and then tighten it all up. That one, that one. It's our ABS sensor line, wire, all set. Yeah, there's quite a bit of rust in there. Maybe this car was from up northish, where they put ice on the road. Ice on the road. Salt on the road because of ice. Does have a bit of camber adjustment in it. The professionals can adjust that, I think. Now we just have to do the top bit. So what are we going to do for spring height in the front? I mean, just went as low as you can go in the back, but you can go a damn sight lower on the front. So what I thought I might do is just measure the droop where it is now and give us about the same. That's 320. We put this in about the same position. 350. So it needs to go up 30 millimeters. We have between that one and the top of that one, we have 64 millimeters. So we need to go up a fair whack. So we need to go up 30 mil. So roughly there. Ugh, that sucks. Let's tighten this one up to start. Now where's our spring? Actually that's nice. So you can move the spring? Good. Should be able to. No, we're not going to be able to. Of course, we won't know how this goes until we actually get it on the ground, but see, before I move that too much. So it's 33 millimeters in case I bump that one. Remember 33 for the other side. So like when I get round to the other side, just write in the comments 33 and I'll look down and I'll get that and I'll be able to do it for the other one in case I don't remember. This is really awkward. Before we adjust the height on this, we should be taking the other side off because of the stabilizer bar. It's pulling it, yeah, it's going to make it difficult for ourselves. So let's go and do the other side. Okay, this is the side where we've got to move the ECU. I've taken the two bolts out. The back of that mount is just on a grommet on that sort of pin sticking out from the firewall. If you carefully sort of tilt it over the top, it slides over there out the way, and here is our shock top. Same as the other side, repeat. You just had a computer in the way. There's always one problem bolt, and in this instance it is that one. I got the bottom one off all right. This one will not budge. So what I'm going to do is tighten it back up and then get the wire wheel onto the thread, see if we can clean that up. I don't have a 14mm metric die to run down it, so it's wire wheel it is. That's interesting, the click is actually in the top, not in the shock. Okay, so if it's anything like the rears, let's go back it right off and put something similar to that. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. That should do it, because that's a heavier shock. Doubtful that they'd have the same innards. It's a heavier spring on the front. I think there's a 70 kilogram on the front, 7 kilogram on the front, and a 6 kilogram on the back. So they don't have, it's hardly a sports car, so it doesn't need to be real. What we actually want to do is get it a bit lower. Okay, so the passenger side front is in. The only drama is a little bit hard to adjust because the adjuster's underneath there. I mean, we could always drill a hole through the ECU and then put one of these things on. Everything's on. We'll throw these wheels on, get it back on the ground, and you know, I've taken a bit of a stab at the damping. I've taken a bit of a stab at the height. So yeah, now comes the tuning bit. Moment of truth. Don't think I've done too badly. Maybe a little low on the front. We might have springed the back down a little bit. Let's just move it around and see if we've got everything right. Yeah, the front's got to come up or the back's got to come down.
Too high on the back.
You know, it's very tempting just to leave it like that. But this is as low as I can get the back. Actually, what were we originally? 75 millimeters from the guard to the tyre. And now we are 40 millimeters. So we've come down 35 millimeters in the back. On the other hand, on the front, we were at 75. 75 and 65? Hang on, what was it? 60 millimeters on the front, 75 on the back. And on the front, we're now 15. If we want to keep that balance, we've got to come up a little bit. This is, I can't get that any lower. That's as low as it goes. 40 mil. This one, it's got to come up. I'm sorry, Kevin, but it does. I'm going to compromise, so I'll try coming up 10. So I don't want to come up 25. Okay, let's have a look at that. All right, well, that's a little better. I'll try rolling it off and on the stand and just see how it looks. What did I forget? The blocks. Oop. It'll miss the big ones because they're inside the wheel track. You know, I think we can get away with that. Certainly looks a hell of a lot better. I wish I could get that rear down a little bit lower. So I'm just going to put the panels back in and drive it home. I took it for a drive around the block just before, and I think when I brought that damping up in the front to 15, the rear's at 12, front's at 15 clicks. I think that's pretty well bang on, but that's workable. I'll do the lights and do those little extended adjusters through the panel. That's Future Mark's problem. How tough can you make a toaster look? But like, it works for me. And there you have it, all done. I drove it home on Saturday night and just up to the shops. You can tell that the alignment was out. I had the damping set a lot too hard, so we buttoned that right off. We're about 7 on the front and I've just adjusted the back to 7. I've just put the adjusters in. You notice the back's a bit lower? How did I do that, you ask? That's the spring height adjusters, but that's sitting where I want it to sit. So what's the heights, I hear you ask? Okay, how much have I actually lowered it? Okay, we started at the back at 75 millimeters and we are currently at 20 millimeters. So we've come down 55 millimeters, so a bit over 2 inches. At the front we started at 60 millimeters and we're down to 25, and that's minus 35 millimeters, so 1.25 inches, 1.33 inches, something rather like that. Interesting thing is you measure it under the sills here and we're still slightly rear up. I haven't aimed the headlights yet. That's my next job. I'm just about to do it after. It's a bit tedious, but you know how, like we point it, we're down sort of this far, but we'll have, because we brought the back up, it will have brought that aim up, so I've got to aim it back down again. So there's only really one thing left to do, isn't there? And the performance modifications are complete. I think we might be doing some sunny truck stuff next. Sneak peek, I've actually heard it running. I think it's going to need wider wheels. We're playing the consequences of what you've done. Alrighty, so we lowered our Spacia. And we took the height adjusters out. You'll notice that they're back in there. There's a couple of reasons. It's sort of over time, as the spring slowly, it sagged a little bit. It was going a little bit bummed down. So I thought it would need the adjusters back in. Interesting thing was though, the headlights didn't come up at all. They went down. So I'm thinking, why has it done that? Well, if you remember the sports van, when we lowered it, we had that load proportioning valve underneath. It was on a spring and we had to turn it upside down and adjust it up. And it turns out this has got one too. And it sits on the arm just there. That's it there. That's the whole thing there. Well, it's not the whole thing. It sits on a little S-shaped bracket that looks very much like that one. So I thought, okay, we need to do a little bit of measuring up and mucking around here. So I drew up, that's the length of the arm. That's how much we lowered it. And that's where that little S bracket was, or the adjuster was. And the amount that we lowered it when it's sitting static was 15 millimeters here, 15 millimeters higher. So the arm was further up. So what we needed to bring it was 15 millimeters down. So what I've done is re-drilled the hole that little arm bolts into, 15 millimeters down. And lo and behold, my headlight should come up, and most importantly, the brake proportioning. And this is the tricky part. The brake proportion, it's a brake proportioning valve. So if you just lower it, when you stand on the brakes, it'll tend to lock up the rears. Now this has got ABS, so it won't matter that much. If you've got an older van, then yeah, you're going to have to do that. So not hard to work out. And now I'm just about to bolt it all back together. So this is it here. Basically just up and down like that, and away she goes. And there's your limits. So this has got plugs and whatnots on it. So it's fairly obviously a bit more sophisticated than the old proportioning valve with a spring on it in the Suzuki Carry. But yeah, with our little re-drilled bracket, we should be apples. Won't be able to tell till dark where the headlights are aiming though, but yeah, let's whack it back in. And there it all is, back in position. You can see the little arm there, and you can see my little, where I've bolted in it a little bit lower. We just need to chuck the wheels back on it, and we can put it back on the ground and drive it home. I always put the nuts on by hand first, rather than chucking them in here and going cross-threading the crap out of it. So Back down we go. Perfecto. Honestly, it looks like two bricks. There's a brick down the bottom there, and then there's a brick that somebody's knocked a chunk off the front of and stuck it on top. Such a cool little thing, it really. Okay, so why were the headlights aiming downwards? Because we'd lowered it down, that little, well, it's not a proportioning valve in this, it's actually an electronic gauge. So it thought that there was, I don't know, 500 kilos of feathers or 500 kilos of lead or 500 kilos of fat asses in the back of it. So the car would be sitting down like that, so it needs to aim the headlights down so it doesn't dazzle everybody. It didn't know that we'd also lowered the front. It's not that smart, that little valve, that little meter, whatever the hell it is. Yeah, so we'll find out later this evening or early tomorrow morning when I come to work and it's dark whether it's worked or not. Alrighty, so here we are the day after, and I was bang on. The headlight aim is absolutely perfect now, shining exactly where it is. The height is slightly rear up as it used to be. I think it looks pretty tough lowered at this level. As tough as you can make a box, but looks pretty good. Do we need wider wheels? Like, you know, they're not, these ones aren't that expensive. If I've got some, even like the 6.5s the same size as that, because we're running 6.5s on the back and 6s on the front. So even if I've got the same size as the back one and then did a tyre swap front to back anyway, that would mean that the whole lot is changeable. We can rotate the tyres. Whether we want to actually go any wider, that's sighting down the side of the van. As you can see, we've got just a fraction of poke there, which is nice. The fronts are sitting inwards. It has 1 degree of negative camber in the front now too, so what I might do later on is try the rears on the front, and that will tell me what we want to go with on the front. So it handles so much better. It used to do, when you were accelerating or braking, it'd do the rocking horse thing, which it doesn't do now. It's quite a bit firmer, but it rides a lot better. It doesn't lean anywhere near as much going around corners. I think it's a win-win in this case, and it looks so tough with that exhaust on it. Job done. So maybe we'll do some wheels. What about some big, I saw some big sort of SSR mesh type with a wide mesh on them. I don't know whether it'd suit the T37s I'm seeing are all quite expensive. I mean, they're a top quality wheel, that's just it. But you know, if I can get a fairly good SSR, genuine SSR, and they're called semi-forged, I don't know actually what that means, but they're not fully forged like the Rays, but they are a good, well, they're SSRs, so they're good quality wheels. But I quite like that look. I think it really suits it. Time will tell. A little bit down the track and we get bored with it and we change the wheels, as I've been known to do in the past. Change wheels on stuff. Thanks for watching. Look after yourselves, and we'll see you in the next episode of Barrel Brothers working on cars. See ya. Okay, let's get photo chopping. Oops.